Corporations spend billions constructing impenetrable digital firewalls to keep attackers out. Yet time and again, the vault simply swings wide open from the inside. The most devastating security breaches rarely involve hackers brute forcing complex encryption algorithms. It is far more efficient to simply convince a legitimate user to volunteer their own access credentials. This is phishing. It operates as a form of social engineering, a tactic that bypasses machine code entirely to exploit human psychology. Early attempts were easy to spot, relying on poor grammar and extravagant promises from imaginary royalty. But look at this modern banking alert on the right. It is pristine, pixel-perfect, and highly effective at fooling cybersecurity experts. Security professionals map these intrusions using the cyber kill chain, a step-by-step playbook that attackers follow to infiltrate a network and extract value. The most critical phase of that chain happens long before any malicious software is deployed. It is the initial reconnaissance, the psychological manipulation that turns a secure employee into an active, willing participant in their own compromise. To bypass our modern skepticism, attackers evolved their tactics. They stopped scattering generic traps and began weaponizing personal context. This animated diagram visualizes the statistical baseline, known as bulk phishing. An attacker sends out millions of identical generic messages. They know the vast majority will be ignored, but statistically, a tiny fraction of a percent will click. But watch how the geometry changes with spear phishing. The scattergun approach collapses into a single, focused line. Attackers scrape open-source intelligence, your public LinkedIn or Instagram data, to craft a customized lure designed specifically for you. When that target moves to the top of the corporate org chart, the tactic is called whaling. Hackers target chief executives to authorize multi-million-dollar wire transfers or quietly release confidential intellectual property. These lures are migrating out of the inbox, too. SMS attacks, called smishing, and voice attacks, known as vishing, are highly effective because they exploit the casual, unguarded way we use our personal phones. An entry-level intern and a CEO are equally valuable targets if the context is right. Attackers are simply searching for the individual most likely to react without thinking in a specific scenario. This brings us to the exploitation phase of the kill chain. The trap has landed in the target's inbox. Look at this email interface. The display name appears entirely legitimate, but as we zoom in on the actual sender address, the spoofing becomes obvious. A number 1 has quietly replaced the letter L in the domain. Moving down to the body of the email, we see the psychological trigger. The language is engineered to induce panic. A countdown timer and bold red text threaten immediate account suspension, forcing the victim to react rather than analyze. The central Verify Account button hides the payload. When we hover the cursor over that button, a tooltip appears at the bottom of the screen, exposing a chaotic string of characters pointing to a fraudulent server. Clicking that link directs the user to a counterfeit landing page. It is built to either harvest credentials the moment they are typed, or silently download ransomware in the background. The mechanics here rely on creating enough stress to override our rational judgment. The engineered urgency makes us blind to the technical red flags right in front of us. A single careless click can drain a personal savings account, or trigger an enterprise-wide ransomware lockout that brings entire supply chains to a sudden halt. But because the attack relies completely on human error, you have the ability to sever the kill chain before the payload detonates. First, adopt a Verify, Don't Trust protocol. Never click links in unexpected or urgent messages. Instead, open a new browser tab and navigate directly to the service using a saved bookmark. Second, inspect everything. Make a strict habit of hovering over links to expose their true destinations, and rigorously check sender addresses for subtle misspellings. Even with deep scrutiny, humans make mistakes. This is why multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is essential. Here is a flowchart showing MFA in action. Even if a hacker successfully steals your password, their progress hits a hard wall. Without physical access to your secondary device, that stolen password is mathematically useless. Software firewalls are highly effective at guarding the digital perimeter. But as long as attackers are exploiting human psychology, an educated, skeptical user remains the strongest security system available.